Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Richmond Raceway, to the three-quarter mile oval that provides some of the best short track racing you can find on the NASCAR calendar. We're not in NASCARs today. We're on a car with more horsepower and about a quarter of the size. We're on the Paved Sprint cars with CSI Suspension Paved Sprint Series, powered by Pivotal Propane, and it is live right here on the Global SimRacing channel. My name is Ryan Jones. As always, alongside me is Gary Weaver. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, using the cameras brought to you by Dougie Beard. And we can dive down, thanks to our GSRC track guide, and take a closer look at the Richmond Raceway track.
Welcome to Richmond Raceway. Richmond is known as the action track, and it's real easy to see how. The unique D-shaped oval allows drivers to reach a lot of speed into Turn 1. Richmond has long been known as a short track that races like a super speedway. With its multiple racing grooves and a history of some beating and banging, Richmond is a fan favorite and driver favorite as well. The Little Virginia short track has 14 degrees of banking in the corners, with 8 degrees awaiting the drivers on the front stretch. No matter what vehicle you drive here at Richmond, tight in the center is usually what you end up fighting the most, based around the fact that drivers are carrying such high speeds into the corners each and every single lap. Now, the best drivers would be the ones that you can be seeing working the brake bias to adjust as the track temperature changes. If you find yourself racing in the baking Virginia sun, corner exit will be your worst enemy. When the sun comes up and brings those track temperatures with it, the grip level at Richmond absolutely plummets. Richmond has been around for quite a while, tracing its roots back to the beginnings of NASCAR. With a recent renovation, it's proud to be a NASCAR for quite some time, which isn't a bad thing if you ask me. This has been our guide to the Richmond Raceway. Sit back and enjoy the show.
A look there at the Richmond Raceway circuit. A look now at how the track looks under the night sky and the lights ablaze all around. And Gary, this is going to be a tricky race for these drivers, getting it back up to speed out of the corners in a car that loves to kick sideways in that throttle.
Yeah, this car is an absolute challenge, and well, the track is as well, especially with the 14 degrees of banking here, and you see that location of the start-finish line just a little bit more towards turn 4 on that exit. So it's going to be something to really keep an eye on in turns 3 and 4. See moves happen if necessary here at the three-quarter mile or 1.21 kilometer track situated in Richmond, Virginia. And I've actually done a couple practice laps in VR beforehand, and turn 2 was a little bit too close for comfort for me coming off that corner. But personally, for me, I could never fully get on that throttle, and that's something that these cars can attest to.
Yeah, it's been the story all season long, hasn't it? Drivers struggling off the exits because the car is so, well, as I said, more horsepower than a Cup Series car. So definitely tricky to drive. And as always, if we take a look at our race format for this evening, you can see that we've got a 5-minute qualifying session. 12 will go through the feature. 3 laps to put down your best effort. 2 heats. We're only going to need 1 this evening. Top 4 will advance to the feature. We'll have a 16 car grid, for that feature race, which will be 40 laps in length. And there's a couple minutes still left to go here in qualifying, in practice before we get into qualifying. And you can see that the qualifying details will be brought to you by Racing Bar's Talk Sticks as well. And Gary, qualifying, how do you get in the best lap you can here?
Well, here at Richmond, the key thing is you see 3 laps, so you do have a little bit of time, and to get a fast lap here, well, you just have to be, well, of course, just it's essentially just something to really be careful for on corner exit, mainly because some of these drivers are having a little bit of bad luck, unfortunately, especially with corner exit by the looks of it in practice. But The thing is, you have 5 minutes or 3 laps. In those 5 minutes, the track state can change a lot within those 5 minutes. So the track state can be, say, maybe, oh, is now actually just for relative, 81 degrees right now, 81 degrees on the track. So it could be 81 degrees here on the track, 78 in the air, and then within 3 minutes, it could be, say, 1 degree lower. And sometimes that could matter just by waiting that little bit more by qualifying near the end of your available time.
Well, let's see who pulls it off the best here. About 30 seconds time. The 3 laps do give you an opportunity to, an extra opportunity or two to put in a really good time. Normally you see in oval racing and NASCAR you get 2 laps. So 3rd lap's a nice little addition for the drivers out there. They'll be welcoming that, but you've got to be careful of your tyres because they won't wear much, but half or a percent off the tyre wear is definitely going to slow you down for that 3rd and final lap. And they've got to come up to temperature too. So you often find that the Goldilocks zone, the fastest lap, is that middle one. We'll see how many drivers that rings true for as the checkered flag flies over practice, and we can get set to turn up the pressure and hit qualifying here at Richmond.
At this point, just wondering who is going to be willing to be the first driver to go out on the track. And it looks like the first movement will be Trey Osborne in the number 60.
Osborne, our defending race winner after winning the last time out. Looking to go back-to-back here at Richmond as he winds it up at a turn number 4. Very slow on that throttle, trying to keep the car straight on its cold tyres. Down to the bottom of 1 and 2. Being so careful on that throttle, it's almost like a slow motion sort of thing to carry.
And I was doing a couple practice laps as Trey Osborne comes across the line. We'll see what he has for a time, a 21.219. So far, the fastest lap by 0.3 of a second, but for this, it's all really throttle control, as now it's going to be Justin Brester with the fastest lap for the time being, provisional pole for now. And that throttle control, really, you don't really use the brake. You just allow the throttle, let the car roll. Now Zachary Bozanik is going to be in that first provisional pole. It's 20.642 for the time being.
Fastest lap in practice was a 20.3, set by Garrett Andrews. 20.455, currently by Bozanic, is the fastest. Osborne improved to 24.66 in his final attempt. Props him up into 2nd place, right ahead of Hunter Crum, who's still on his 3rd and final lap. So too is Bozanic. Justin Brester's gone and looped it after the checkered flag, and no improvement for Bozanic on his final attempt.
Now it's Hunter Crum at the same, again, a relatively similar time. 20.4 so far is what we're seeing, but we have yet to see anyone for the time being to break it. And right when I say that, 20.253 by Chance Crum now for provisional pole.
Good effort from Chance and Hunter, both Crum brothers sitting on the front row then. See if anyone can knock them off. Austin Nye, Matt Roberts, 2 drivers yet to put down a lap time as Garrett Andrews splits them and goes to 2nd with a 20.361. Good effort from him on lap number 3.
It's 1.204, 4/1000ths of a second from Chance Crum to be in that 20.1 second bracket, but relatively the fastest lap time set so far tonight, just overall in that 20.2 second range. So for the time being, only Austin Nye and Matt Roberts have yet to set a qualifying time, but they are not sitting on track just yet, as are currently looking at the 99, was making some practice laps up until just in that section up on that front straightaway. And that front straightaway is also going to be a little bit of a challenge as well. You still can't go full throttle in these regardless, even in the straight line, but while doing that and turning ever so slightly to the left down the Richmond front straightaway. That's definitely known to loosen up the car just a little bit, as Austin Nye looks to be going for his qualifying attempt right now.
Let's see how this goes for the 97 then, as he begins lap number 1, but halfway down the circuit. Interesting, not opting to use the entire track and well wide of the bottom of the corner through 1 and 2. As those tyres come up to temperature and he becomes more confident on that louder pedal, he will wind it up out of turn number 4, and again opting for a shallow line down the main straight, a little bit higher than it was in lap number 1 though. 20.559, his first effort. Definitely got it turned in a lot more that time by through 1 and 2.
So far, his time is good enough for P8. Matt Roberts has not budged from the pit road yet. Austin Nye improving again, P3 this time. And at most, he could be able to get Garrett Andrews into push Garrett Andrews into third place. We'll have to see on Austin Nye's final attempt last time through the corner, giving a little bit of space between himself and that apron off turn number 4. Austin Nye's lap time does not improve, unfortunately, but he is in at third place on that podium spot by the end of qualifying.
5 minutes up here in qualifying. Everyone but Matt Roberts setting a time. And we're going to go...
Well, this is a incredibly strange situation now.
You've got to be kidding me.
Well, oddly enough, it looks like Matt Roberts is going to be the only driver to be in this heat, since he is that odd man out in that 13th position. He does grid, but 15 laps. I mean, he's guaranteed a spot regardless. It's originally going to be the top 2 to the feature, so
this is basically a 15-lap warm-up session here for Matt Roberts.
I mean, yeah, luckily for him, he can use this just as a little bit of extra practice time, I guess. So it does work out for him for the time being, unfortunately, in some cases, but we'll see.
Having a few connectivity issues too, unfortunately. So, strange situation here, Gary.
Yeah, never really been...
The heat is brought to you, of course, by our beautiful sponsors. KT's Steering Service, Kevin Thomas Racing Services Rebuild, Repair, and Dyno's Power Steering Gears and Pumps for midget sprint car and servo car markets, as well as Sharp Advantage safety products. We specialize in building the most professional, custom-fit, high-impact, safe seat inserts that are designed to be used in a standard aluminum or carbon seat chosen from the manufacturer of your choice, both bringing you the heat races here. PitLogic as well, giving away a fast time award and hard charge award at the end of the season. They are the most comprehensive chassis and shock setup application on the market. Looking to come to the green flag here is Mr. Matt Roberts all by himself. Going to be tough to lose this leading spot off the jump. Well,
it looks like Race Control has decided to advance the session for the time being.
It's not working.
I'll have to wait and see how it goes until then. But in the meantime, though, Matt Roberts still managing to at least use this as a little bit of as an advantage, of course, to get a little bit of extra practice time in. He didn't get into qualifying, of course, so in a sense, this could be really what his lap times could be capable of.
going to be really embarrassing if you spin here because you know everyone is watching. Everyone in the session wants you to finish this as quickly as you possibly can. So you don't want to be you don't want to make a mistake here, do you?
On the bright side, though, there really couldn't be a chance of a caution for Roberts as he goes right down the back straightaway. A little bit too close to comfort for that outside wall, but we'll see how Roberts does as he makes his way through 3 and 4 for the time being across the line again, lap 5. So out of his last, just as a little bit of a, what if he did qualify? If Matt Roberts did qualify, that 20.719 lap time would have been his fastest lap time in qualifying. For the time being, 10 laps to go for Matt Roberts.
20.922 that time by. So pace starting to drop off. This will give us a good idea actually of how the pace might drop off over the course of our feature race. Of course, that 20.719 would have been his fastest. Maintained it for a lap, dropped off by a couple tenths, and then by half a second, 21.4, really dropping off.
Possibly just trying to at least nurse it home at this point, just trying to at least keep it under control and keep it off the wall, get a little bit of a relative bearing on what you're going to be dealing with, but also just really there's no reason to push and just try and get that car home in one piece back into the 20.8 second range that time by. So we'll see how the lap times play out.
Out of turn number 4. Let's see what this one is. As you mentioned, he brought it back down and brings it back again. 220.8 in a row. So a couple poor laps.
Yeah, see, he's giving a little bit of spacing between himself and that apron. That's what everyone's been doing, and for, of course, very good reason, because if you I mean, it's usually given them, also NASCAR when they come here as well. But in these cars, they can easily be upset just by that small little bit of a difference between the track and the apron itself. So that's why everyone's been giving a little bit of space so they don't spin themselves out or at least risk collecting themselves and other drivers in the process.
Exactly right. Richmond Raceway as well as a little racetrack. It's a fun racetrack, isn't it, Gary? A D-shaped oval, 3/4 in length, 3/4 of a mile in length. So very much short track, but a lot of turning goes into this joint.
Yeah, you're almost consistently turning aside from, the back straightaway, of course, where that's the only portion of the track where you are, of course, having your wheel, relatively as straight as possible. But from pretty much turn 3 all the way to turn 2, you are relatively consistently turning at some point. And again, that front straightaway, if you're right up against the wall, you have to be careful with not only throttle control, but wherever your wheel is pointed, because, you turn too much, you put too much throttle down, and the next thing you know, you're going to be spinning. And really, that's just regardless of the car that's driving here. I mean, of course, it's a given for these powerful sprint cars, but also in NASCAR, the back end just wants to get loose and step right out from you.
He's coming to the white flag this time by as well, so he'll finish off his heat race without a mistake. Touch wood as he puts down 20.789, so lap time's starting to come back to him as he gets towards the end of this session. Actually ran a 20.714 on lap 11, but his fastest lap of the heat down. So an interesting cycle going through his tyres then.
I'm wondering if that early section was enough for him to lay off. Maybe just take it carefully, but he does, of course, win and advance into the feature event.
Didn't see that coming. We had a 5-minute warm-up session here for all 13 drivers to have some practice out there on the racetrack here at Richmond Raceway. Of course, we'll have that 13-car feature. Everyone makes it through. Our top 12 qualifiers and Matt Roberts from the heat.
The time of that heat race was, well, just about 2 minutes, 20 seconds longer than the warm-up session, so everyone's going to be getting relatively equal practice time regardless.
Well,
And
Roberts, he can do it all again.
that is true. That is true. I'm wondering how much rubber will be put down within this session as well. And I think actually in turns 1 and 2, there's already a little bit of the line being put down right on the very inside lane.
Yeah, should offer up a little bit more grip down there. We saw Roberts actually not going right to the bottom of the racetrack for a lot of his laps. So, looks like there's probably a couple different lines you can take around the first 2 corners, including just a lane or 2 up, which could promote some good side-by-side racing if they do get side-by-side. As you see there, just struggling in the exit of the corner was Tracy Lepazic, and Chance Crum dips to the outside and sweeps around the outside. Lepazic didn't opt to practice some side-by-side racing there, unfortunately. Zachary Bazanic on your screen as well. He does run that second lane up the racetrack that will work if you are running side-by-side with someone.
That's going to be something to really keep an eye out for, as well as the distance between the right side tires and the back straightaway wall there on the outside, because well, it's worth giving a little bit of distance as well, just to be sure. Right on board Colton Collins, who's consistently just kind of bobbling a little bit throughout the entire straightaway by the looks of it, but manages to hang on to it for the time being. And right when I say that, he goes into the outside wall, and well, that unfortunately is the pure visualization of just commentator's curse, unfortunately.
The exit of turn 2 is deceptive, because as the track flattens out, it suddenly becomes really hard to keep the car turned in for the last part of the corner, and that outside wall comes up on you very quickly. Right there, you can actually see how the track flattens out before the exit of the corner.
And it's not like, of course, the exit of turn 4, where you have all of this space available to you as well. So that's definitely very incredibly deceiving, and could call for some close moments, especially when it comes to, speaking of close moments, Brester and Brewer coming almost together just about in turns 1 and 2. Could call for some close moments off turn number 2 between somebody's right side tires and the outside wall. Brester coming right back at Brewer. Great inside pass off the corner.
Brewer went for a bit of a very long slide there that eventually came unstuck down towards turn 1. Some interesting times going down as well. Last we saw it was Austin Nye that had put down a purple lap. Hunter Crum dives it down to the apron and abandons his warm-up session. Matt Roberts is out there circulating as well. He's done a 20.649 last time by, so he's running quicker than he did in the heat race, and I believe the track is faster than it was in that heat.
We'll see, taking a look at Chance Crum. Currently still just absolutely sweeping the sessions currently for the time being. And you see, the air temperature went down a very staggering 1 degree, now to 77 from 78. And track temperature still the same for the time being as the sun continues to set. So it could be quite some time before we see that track temperature dip.
Thank you to Competition Suspension Incorporated, who the title sponsors of the series. CSI has become the shock of choice for many of today's top professionals. They've won over 5,000 races and many track, regional, and national championships right around the world. You can learn more if you visit www.competitionsuspension.com. So we look forward to get into the race. Timer counts down to 0. Checkered flag flies. And we can get ready for our main event. Our 13-car feature from Richmond. This is how they will line up. Front row, Chance Crum and Garrett Andrews. Austin Knight and Hunter Crum starting off behind them. Zachary Bazanich and Tracy Lepazic occupy row number 3. Trey Osborne and Barrett Polhemus from the 4th row of the grid. Justin Brester and Ryan Shulkruski running out your top 10.
And then the last 3 drivers on your field in row 6, it's going to be Jerry Brewer and Colton Collins in 11th and 12th, and then getting a whole row to himself in so far lucky position number 13 is Matt Roberts.
And thank you to Pivotal Propane who are presenting this series. And that is an absolute tongue twister right there. Too many P's in a row. Gonna get my tongue all twisted up at some point this season. I think it already has. They are providing a custom-built trophy as well for your winner. So, something on the line for these guys to try and fight for over the course of this season. So thank you again to Pivotal Propane for jumping on board for this season. As we roll off behind the iRacing.com pace truck, we'll have 2 laps behind the pace truck here before we get going.
A few drivers already starting to warm up their tires, trying to get them into some decent amount of temperature before we go green flag racing here for those 40 laps under the lights as well. And well, the track temperature has dipped another staggering 1 degree to 80 degrees now, and we'll see how that ends up at the end of the night for the time being.
I was going to make a snarky comment about Fahrenheit, and then I remembered that this is an American series, and that's probably an ill-advised move. But either way, it is pretty cold out there as we get ready to hit the green at just coming up to 9 PM in sim time. So very much under the grip of the night sky. 40 laps of distance for this one. Cautions are on should someone make a mistake worthy of the iRacing.com pace truck emerging back out onto the racetrack at some point in this one. As we look to the green flag. Thanks to our flagman, Barney. Chance Crum, Goat Andrews, the front row. Green flag flies. We're underway with a very even start from the top 2 initially. Then Chance Crum jumps out to the lead, down into turn number 1.
So far, it's going to be side-by-side. Austin Nye on the apron just manages to save it, but that's going to allow Hunter Crum to get around his outside. And Trey Osborne, a little bit too eager, nearly tags the left rear tire of Zachary Balzanik on the entry to turns 3 and 4. And already Hunter Crum trying to look for P2, and Austin Nye looking for P3 up on the top side with an outside pass. And he's going to try and get the 10 as well for turn number 2.
That was an impressive move down in 1 and 2 from Austin Nye. Around the outside, made it work on Hunter Crum. Caution's going to fly for the first time this evening for an incident further back out of the field.
Justin Brester in the 3.
Looks like Shulkuski's going slow as well. But yes, no, Brester, definitely him involved. His engine has gone kaput, and we'll see why as you take a look at your replay. Look for that black and white car, middle of the screen. Hit from behind as they crashed in front. Speared up into the fence.
Barrett Polhemus unfortunately caught up in that as well. Just lost a little bit of grip. Lost a little bit of grip on the entry to the corner, so
looks like
nowhere to go.
Yeah, he looks like he checked up. Car behind maybe didn't, or lifted off a bit too early for the corner. Either way, he gets his car repaired and gets back out on the racetrack. They'll go a lap down, unfortunately, though, so he'll need another caution or something to go his way. Restarts have been changed to single file as well here, Gary.
That looks to be something to really just keep an eye on and possibly just to, hope for the best right away. So we'll see more than likely the advantage that Chance Crum can get from this restart as well. And of course, the One thing that is going to be needed, of course, for this restart for Chance Crum, he needs to sit right up on the outside wall as much as he can and move right down to the inside right after the pace truck pulls off and accelerate. And that way he can get the best start and he won't leave the outside open for anyone to try and get a pass.
All good in theory, but putting that to the test with your right foot is very much a different scenario altogether. It could come unstuck very easily indeed. Looking atop the iRacing.com pace truck and watching those flashing lights to see if they'll extinguish as he comes across or she comes across the line, the virtual driver. They do, which means one to go here at Richmond.
You see Chance Crum immediately just warming up his tires. Garrett Andrews just sitting behind. I'll have to time this restart right if he wants to stick with Chance Crum.
Well, let's see how it goes as Chance Crum's in control of the field. Andrews tried to close up, but didn't quite time it right as the green flag falls over the field once again. Look at the battle for third on back. Austin Nye trying to fend off Hunter Crum. Almost down to his inside as Bozanic and Osborne run side by side behind them. Osborne taking it away.
And Hunter Crum is going to be on the inside of Austin Nye, who, well, Nye's using that middle lane to an advantage as much as he can. And he's done it before. He'll try and do it again. Breaking early, though, is Hunter Crum. And there goes way up the track, Austin Nye.
Cost him mid-corner, but the exit was beautiful. As Osborne shot down to his inside, trying to take away P4. Nye had the momentum, though it didn't quite work out. Bozanic is wadded up behind as well, and Jerry Brewer is closing in on these guys, starting to put the pressure on too. There's a mistake, and there's Bozanic back to the outside of Osborne.
Osborne got a little bit loose off turn number 2, managed to hang on to it, but still a little bit of a bobble again, twice off turn number 4. And in a sense, it's very subtle. It's now Chance Crum sets the faster lap, and Osborne pushing a little bit too hard as he nearly got into the left rear of Austin Nye, but entire left side, I should say. Bozanic is going to be backing off and settling in behind that 60 for the time being.
Down on the inside, his line was compromised. He had to stop a lot more than he anticipated. Did a good job to keep it off the side of Austin Nye. As we ride on board with Bozanic here, look at the angle they have to put in to that steering to get it turned here on these paved sprint cars. As he runs down to the 3 and a 4, they all take the same line for the first time, I think, the whole race along.
Yeah, see, this is a
off the corner,
that's a good shot to use that as well. That just shows how much you're just trying to fight not only off the corner, but down the straightaway as well, relatively early on. And Bozanic just fighting it, just trying to keep control of it as much as possible. I believe dinging the wall just a little bit, just barely scraped it, but nothing too major for that 72. Aside from that corner exit there where he's practically sideways every single time.
On lap 13 of 40 here. Starting to fall away as Bozanic. Osborne having no such issues as he threw it to the inside of Nye. And he was squirming, trying to back out of that almost as soon as he could have there. Very close to contact.
A little bit too close for comfort in a sense, and that's going to be really the key thing for tonight, unfortunately. Whether it's with somebody else, the wall, or with the caution apparently that's just come out. The 14 of Jerry Brewer had a wild ride down the straightaway.
We'll grab a replay in a moment and tell you what happened to him. Here we go. Out of turn 4. Big tank slapper. He had it going for a while and eventually he ran out of room to save it. Up and over she goes. Sticks the landing. And that car is crabbing
very heavily
just
damaged.
a bit.
still just trying to drive it back for the time being back into pit road, but that suspension is absolutely...
Oh, he's taking out the 7 with him.
Trying to slow up, steering didn't help out, got into the inside wall, and then... Oh, that happened, unfortunately.
Justin Brester, meanwhile, has been waved around the pace car, so he'll get his lap back and he'll be able to fight for some more positions in this one, which is an incentive for Brewer to remain only 1 lap down here, and he'll have a chance, should another caution come out, to get a lap back. Heading to Irwindale next week, Gary. Completely different racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be something that really, it's... In a sense, it's kind of the short track version of Darlington in a sense, where the outside lane is usually the one to run, and the inside lane is usually just for passing. Well, in a sense, at least, where the inside lane at Irwindale, of course, is pretty much the entirety of the inside of the track, where Darlington primarily runs the top side, and, well, anything below that is the apron. So, very interesting comparison, but also a fun difference, really, and something that really, I don't believe we've seen much, but drivers not really having a lot of luck with the outside walls, so seeing how the cars will handle at Irwindale and corner exit from the top side are going to be quite something to watch.
See if that brings some new names to the fore when we go racing there at Irwindale. Be the penultimate round of the season before we round it all off in 2 weeks' time. Should get the one to go signal this time, but as the lights go out. Indeed, they don't. So 2 to go here.
Andrew's going to have to be on his toes on this restart. Watching Chance Crum maybe close the gap a little bit more, but for the time being, Chance Crum has been absolutely running away with the lead.
Yeah, as he's not being pressured at all. It's a little bit about that battle for 3rd place on back, hasn't it? Hunter Crum, Austin Nye, Trey Osborne, Zachary Bazanich have all been battling away. As they've done that, Ryan Shulkuski's shown from 10th to 7th, so he might start to challenge them. Colton Collins has gone from 12th to 9th as well, and gained a couple of spots. Trey Osborne's up 2 spots, from 7th on the go up to 5th. So a couple of people picking up some positions over the first half of this one. We'll restart onto lap 20 of 40 here. Half a lap to go before we get that green flag once again. Everyone just trying to get some last-minute heat up into their tyres. As Pace Truck dive down and out of the way out of turn number 4. And Chance Crum will be left once again in control of the field as we come back to the start to finish stripe to go racing. Once again, the green flag's in the air. We're back underway.
Relatively immediately, everyone, while Austin and Trey Osborne side by side again for what seems to be at least the 3rd time today, at least, well, noticeably, as those two continue to battle it out for the bottom half of the top 5 positions, at least between themselves in 4th and 5th, where Hunter Crum continues to look to Garrett Andrews for the time being, but nothing doing as of yet. Same with Trey Osborne. Look to the inside of Nye. They single file out.
Andrews, a poor run out of the corner, and Nye dives down at the bottom through 3 and 4, clears him for a moment, doesn't slide up in front, and that allows Andrews to fight back on the outside. But Nye, so that is Hunter Crum, not Andrews, but Nye, great turn of pace down low. Should clear him in just a moment.
We'll see Austin Nye finally not stuck up on the outside lane. Osborne looking to almost make it 3 wide, just barely backs out of that. And, well, it's still a relatively 3-car battle in a sense for the 3rd place position as Hunter Crum comes straight down in front of Trey Osborne, practically shutting the door. Nye gets loose up turn number 2. He just hung on to it. probably a little bit of sparks there as well, as Hunter Crum looks to the inside to get third place back from him.
Inside should prevail again, if history tells us anything between these two, and it does, as Austin Nye runs a bit too wide through the bottom, through the middle of 1 and 2. The exit, though, was incredible. Clears them down into turn 3.
Hunter Crum comes right back to the inside lane for the time being. Osborne actually looked up to that same line that Nye was using, and Osborne looks to the inside, doesn't make a move yet, so move Hunter Crum up into third place. And Trey Osborne also gets by Austin Nye. I'm pretty sure he's thinking, finally, I got by Nye. Now it's time to get into that podium spot, and you could have a chance because Hunter Crum is looking to attack Garrett Andrews for that position.
Three-tenths quicker last time by was Hunter Crum and Garrett Andrews. Andrews made a big mistake. I think it was coming out of turn number 4, compromised the start of his lap. He's recovered a bit on this time by, but clips the apron again and he's slow. Here comes Hunter Crum. Andrews slides across the start line. And Andrews is going to have to relinquish the outside to Hunter Crum. Here he comes.
Oh, Osborne.
No, Osborne slaps the fence. Up on her 2 tyres and back into the fence he goes. Caution's going to come out.
I don't know what happened to Osborne. I think he just broke loose off turn number 2 by the looks of it. Not entirely sure. We'll see here. Osborne in the number 60. Comes off the corner. Just snaps to the right. Gets lucky here, but suspension was already damaged by that point.
Still coming up to throttle halfway down the straight, Gary?
Possibly. That's the only thing. Trying to get a little bit more throttle, and unfortunately, that was pretty much the end of that for the time being. Does have, I believe, 1 faster pair, so Osborne going to have to work his way up through the field, unfortunately, after that.
Gonna be tricky if he loses a lap.
Well, Hunter Crum and Garrett Andrews were having a great battle at the time. Garrett Andrews luckily came out on top of that battle just during the moment the caution came out. Hunter Crum still just sitting back in third place. I'm pretty sure he's just itching to get that 1-2 finish for himself and his brother Chance. Chance has just continued to run away with this throughout the entire night.
Gonna restart with not many laps to go. Be about 8 or 9 on the leaderboard when we hit the restart zone here. Whoops. Sorry if anyone of you heard that. But either way, for Crum out front, it's these late race restarts that really worry you.
And something that you'd have to wish that you kind of hoped that the green flag run would continue, the caution wouldn't come out, and really I'm pretty sure the only time that Chance is hoping for the next caution, as the lights continue to remain on. So 8 laps to go, we should get the green. The next time around it should be the 1 to go signal, but the thing that Chance Crum is hoping for, I'm sure, is don't have the caution come out until 4 laps to go. Once it comes from 5 laps to go to 4 laps to go, then in that case, that's pretty much it, and Chance Crum can then finally relax and just really drive it at, usual street speeds, really. 50 miles an hour, have an easy cruise to the win, but we really wouldn't know how Andrews and Crum, or Hunter Crum rather, would really handle it out in those final laps, because those two have been battling relentlessly for that second place.
They certainly have. Here we go. Lights should go out on the pace truck, as they do. So want to go signal here. Once again, a single file restart to get us back going. And what can that man in second place on your screen do to overpower Chance Crumb? Garrett Andrews will restart from second for the first time today since the initial jump where he lost out to Hunter Crumb. I don't think that's quite correct, but either way, he does get a much better restart this time by. As behind Bozanic, struggling to come up to speed.
Managed to hold on to it. Nearly took somebody out, unfortunately. I think nearly Austin Nye he made contact with, but luckily he does manage to hang on to it. And you have to, again, fight that wheel. But here comes Hunter Crumb to the outside of Garrett Andrews for that second place position. Austin Nye looking to capitalize as well to get into this podium position.
Andrews, 2 tires down to the apron. That hurts him on the entry. Here comes Crumb around the outside. Clears him as Andrews slaps the fence. Up and over he goes. Collected by a couple more. The car snapped right. And he did a bit more than slap the fence. He creamed it.
And
here's a replay.
Suspension damage. Probably trying to get the power down. That's the only reason why I could just snap like that. And unfortunately, that is the cost of that. Well, I guess that would technically fall under the commentator's curse, as I did mention that, you know, in the theoretical caution with 4 laps to go, we wouldn't know how the battle between Andrews and Hunter Crumb would play out. Well, now we know, unfortunately.
Chance Crumb, Hunter Crumb. Hunter Crumb will restart from second for the first time tonight. That's what I was thinking earlier when I said Andrews, who'd been there all day long. And he should get a chance here to restart right behind his brother. And we'll see if there's any late changes here.
I believe we might be getting at least maybe a 2-lap shootout or a 1-lap shootout. We're currently at 5 to go, so relatively be in range. I'm assuming a 2-lap shootout by the looks of things. So we'll see Austin Nye looking to currently defend that 3rd place podium position from Shelkuski and Bozanic on their restart. Bozanic had a little bit of a too close for comfort, a little bit of a too much of a powerful restart there for him, but he is lucky to be in P5 for the time being.
Light should go out next time by, which will mean a 2-lap dash to the end. Crumb versus Crumb, the battle at the front. We'll see it for the first time this evening. Chance, who's led every lap of this race after qualifying on the pole. Hunter Crumb's fought his way from 4th up into 2nd after a great battle with Austin Nye. And Zachary Bozanic throughout the course of the evening. Garrett Andrews has fallen all the way back to 10th place, final car on the lead lap, unfortunately. And the lights are still on.
So we could be getting a 1-lap dash. We'll see next time by, but it could be possible. And that means if we do get a 1-lap dash, well, once it's green, well, there's no cautions left, and whatever happens will happen. No one will be able to really entirely recover from that, so all eye is going to be on the pace truck and the lights around the track.
Tracy Lepazic and Justin Brester both retired from the race. Jerry Brewer's still out there, 3 laps down, unfortunately, in 11th. As I mentioned, Andrews is the last car still on the leading lap. Pace truck comes across.
Lights out.
A 1-lap dash to finish things off here in the competition suspension pivotal propane Paved Sprint Series. Wow.
Well, you did mention that you might get your tongue twisted, and you did.
Hopefully, Pivotal Propane will be back next season, and if we are back next season, we hope it's not the paved sprint, so that I may get the title sponsor out without tripping over my words. Here we go, though. 1 to go. 1 lap dash. Can Crumb continue to lead every lap of the race? He pins up. Throttle gets a fantastic jump over his brother. Down to turn 1 for the final time of this evening. Hunter Crumb leading Austin Nye comfortably as Bazanic fending them all off for 5th. Down to the final corner. An attempted dive from Austin Nye, not going to be enough. Chance Crumb is going to take the checkered flag, and he will win here at Richmond Raceway from his brother Hunter Crumb in 2nd, and Austin Nye in 3rd.
An absolutely great race and great dominance by Chance Crumb to get the win here at Richmond Raceway.
Here's your results then at the end of the evening. As we mentioned, the top 3, and they were separated by just 3/4 of a second. Then Bazanic and Osborne running out the top 5. Barrett Polhemus and Matt Roberts were 6th and 7th. The top 10 was rounded out by Ryan Shulkuski, Colton Collins, and Garrett Andrews.
And the last 3 drivers in your race tonight, it was Jerry Brewer, Justin Brester, and Tracy Lepasic, who unfortunately was not able to finish tonight.
We'll do a quick interview with our race winner, Chance Crumb. Chance, another good win for you here in the Pivotal Propane Sprint Series, and you didn't have it all your way. You had to contend with some late race restarts, but held on well.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a good race. I got some good runs in there. You're lucky to start up front, and that definitely helps. And just kind of trying to keep things up front. This track is a little tricky, and these cars especially. It's really easy to make mistakes. So just trying to minimize those and get as much speed out of them as we can.
I know you didn't have to do anything of it today, but further back, it did seem to be a story of the race. How hard is it to pass in these cars? Obviously, every place other than Richmond we've been to, you've had to fight through the field sometimes. It does seem tricky.
Yeah, it definitely is tricky. And this track, the bottom is pretty much the place to be. You can kind of roll around the outside a little bit, but the bottom and the corners is definitely where you want to be. So it makes things difficult, but seemed to have some good racing today. So I was happy with that and had some fun.
Hey, well, congratulations on that checkered flag, getting it done here at the end of the A main. And who do you want to thank for helping you get there?
I want to give a big thank you to Capstone Plastering, Airvan Moving, CSI Shocks, Joe's Racing Products, PitLogic. Shout out to my brother Hunter for finishing 2nd there. That was pretty cool to go 1-2. And also shout out to my friends Justin and Tristan who are hanging out with us and racing. And thank you guys for broadcasting, and CSI for putting this league on. It's always a lot of fun.
Hey, thank you for joining us, and we will hopefully get a chance to talk to him next time. Standing by with Hunter Crumb is Gary Weaver.
Yeah, here with P2 finisher Hunter Crumb. With this race tonight was relatively challenging for you. You battled Austin Nye and Trey Osborne throughout the entire night for the most part on restarts. And well, your thoughts by the end of the night here at Richmond?
It was definitely a tough race. With these cars, you really don't know how much throttle you can give them until you learn the hard way. So I was trying to be cautious. And I got around side of Garrett, and I think he gave it a little bit too much throttle trying to get back. Unfortunate. So I enjoy racing with him. And then Austin was providing a lot of pressure behind, which made that tough.
Well, heading into next week at Irwindale, the end of the season as well, what are your thoughts heading into that track where primarily the top side is usually the one that's run?
Well, I'm excited. My dad said that asphalt sprint cars there are very fun to watch. So hopefully iRacing can portray the same, very fun to race. I've always had a ton of fun, racing with my brother. Even though he's, miles faster than me, it's always fun to try and catch him. I'm looking forward to it.
Before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your 2nd place finish?
Firstly, Chance for not wrecking on that last caution. And then PitLogic, Trophy Dash, CSI Shocks, and all of those guys.
Well, thanks for your time. We have to talk to you again next week.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, let's wrap things up then for this broadcast. Thank you, of course, to CSI Shocks, Pivotal Propane, Sharp Advantage Safety Products, KT Steering Service, PitLogic, and Racing Bar Talk Sticks, Torsion Bars as well for their sponsorship of the series. Thank you to the companies who provide the software and the hardware for all of our broadcasts, including June Lode, who provides our music. See the screen for how to get a hold of all of them. Thanks to the team with me today, Gary and Sean. You can find out more about GSRC, including our upcoming races at globalsimracingchannel.com, or check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head on over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a moment. Next race for us for this series is at Irwindale. Plenty more coming up before then, including in about a minute's time, we're going racing for the Steel City Showdown right here on YouTube and Facebook. So stay with us for that. And from all of us here in the booth, thanks for joining us. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.